In all my years as an NBA fan, I don't think I've ever seen an NBA race this close. What's going on, y'all? It's Riv, and you guys are back with another rundown with Riv. And today, as I always say, you seen the thumbnail, you seen the title. We're talking about Nikola Jokic and shai-Gilgeous Alexander, two players who are having, seasons that I can't even compute in my mind. They are so crazy. If you think I'm gonna sit here and bash one of the two in this video, you're wrong. Because the only thing I came to do in this video is to praise these two players and what they're doing for this game. And it's so beautiful to be able to see this race because on one hand we have a 7-foot maestro who does everything. He passes the ball, he rebounds at the top of the league, he can score with anybody even though he's not scored first. He has one of the highest IQs we've ever seen, and even his biggest deficiency, which was defense, he's not even that bad at it anymore. And then we get to the flip side. We have a team who in the past couple of years has blossomed out of nowhere, led by this young player who is one of the most efficient 2-point scorers we have ever seen in this game that doesn't play the 5 position, that plays all NBA level defense, that has one of the best 5 defensive box score numbers in the NBA this season, plus minus, I mean. You see how these two players are getting to where they got to go. How these two players are making their case couldn't be any further from each other. But the fact of the matter is we have two players who are having near perfect seasons, and the media has to make a choice. You see, and this is where there's a deficiency. This is where it kind of frustrates me as a fan, because this is the same media that Anthony Davis was left off of all of the all NBA first, second, third teams simply because the media member forgot about Anthony Davis. And then we have times where, it's a Minnesota writer and Rudy Gobert is getting, votes out of nowhere, and Anthony Edwards is getting an MVP vote. Just stuff we see as an example. That's not specific. But we see a lot of bias within this, I believe we saw a strong one with the Boston writer. So it gets real fishy and real murky about, well, these two players who are having these perfect seasons, how am I supposed to, distinguish who's supposed to win? And my short answer is there's no wrong answer. If you made a case for me that shai-Gilgeous Alexander is the MVP of this league, I would look at you and I would say, you sound about right. Then if another person came up to me about 2 minutes later and told me Nikola Jokic is the best player we have ever seen in I don't know how long besides GOAT James, I would say, you're right. You see, Nikola Jokic, what he has done, his legacy so far is undeniable. His talent, as I made a video on in the past, is one of the best, at least 10 talents we have ever seen in this game. And if he were to win another MVP, that would put him in the echelon as quite literally maybe the greatest modern day center we have ever seen in this game. That includes the likes of Shaquille O'Neal. That includes the likes of Hakeem Olajuwon. That includes the likes of the Tim Duncans of I was about to say Duncan Robinson. Forgive me, Admiral. The likes of David Robinson. It puts you the likes of Kareem, which not yet. He's cream of the crop. But Jokic is already in the conversation with those guys, even though it doesn't, sound right because we're seeing it in day. We're seeing everything in front of us. He was maybe 1 week of undeniable basketball away from having 4 consecutive MVPs. The MVP that Joel Embiid won, many people were arguing that even Nikola Jokic should have won that one. But what's happening right now is that we are having shai-Gilgeous Alexander's having one of the most amazing seasons ever versus a person who the little only argument against him, the only reason why people say he might not win MVP is because of voters' fatigue. Are you serious? Voters' fatigue. because the voters want to see something different, and that goes back to my entire argument that is where the flaw lies in all of this. See, I haven't even talked too much about these players. I wanted to get to, some of the rationales, right? I wanted to look at what they're doing. I wanted to, peek a little bit at the stats. So here we have NBA.com. This article released 3 days ago as they have their weekly MVP rankings. Last week, as you can see right there, Shai-Gilgeous Alexander was number 1 in MVP. Now this week, it is Nikola Jokic. And as the season went, they kept flopping, and then Shea had it for a long, long, long stretch. But you see, the Nuggets began to catch up, and they began to play better. And then people eventually came back around because it's Nikola Jokic. He's the best player in the league right now, undeniably, and he is putting up 30, 13, and 10. 30, 13, and 10. An efficient 13, shooting 40% from the field. Almost 2 steals per game. Crazy stuff. But then we got this dog underneath him in Shai-Gilgeous, who's putting up 33 on the best defensive team we have ever seen in the history of this game. Just one season. Hold on. Just one season. I'm sorry. The Thunder are one of the best defensive teams of all time. And he is a point of attack defender, while also being able to drop 33 points per game. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? That's what makes all of this so difficult. Is that there's nothing you can do, and I understand the media now is trying to foul bait, foul bait, foul bait, foul bait, foul bait, foul bait, foul bait. Come on now. Let's be real. The reason they're fouling this man is because they cannot guard him. Yes, there are times where he's going to lean into the defense where, maybe he saw someone leaning, so he wanted to catch a bump, and they fake him out so it looks silly, right? We all seen the clip where he shot the mid-range sideways. That doesn't take away from the fact that he's averaging 33. Take away his free throws, he's still averaging over 20 points per game. With five rebounds, with 6 assists, with being second in the league in steals, with one of the best defensive plus minuses in the league. You see, there's this stat that I love, and I made a video on it, and you're gonna see it somewhere on this page. Let me go back to the top. Apologies. It's that number, right? You see 2025, right, kind of below here, right? And at the end, you see these two PER and win shares. You see Nikola Jokic has a PER above 30, which means you're having one of the most elite seasons of all time. Then I switch over to the brother Shai-Gilgeous Alexander, 31.1. That stat right there, which is an accumulative stat of your overall value to the game on a game-by-game basis, is showing me right there that they're eerily similar. That they're both having legendary seasons, right? And for some people, what separates them is this, right? I got this from Reddit. Only 5 players in NBA history has been named to all defense in a year they averaged 30 points per game. You got Jordan. You got Kobe. 2 of the best two-way players we have ever seen in this game. You got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Quite literally one of the best 3 players we have ever seen in this game. You got 2009 Dwayne Wade, which is one of the best single seasons that have been produced by a player, and it almost never gets talked about. And then you got Jerry West, who I'm not going to act like I know too much about Jerry West. I just know he was with the Lakers, lost a lot of finals, was a legend in his game. But the fact that they are doing this, right, on a game-by-game basis, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know how to compute what these 2 players are doing right now. Who is my pick? If you look at the first video on my channel's history, you might know who I have in my pick. I am a immense, great, huge Nikola Jokic supporter. Because I don't think he gets the amount of love that he deserves. But now I'm looking at the brother Shai. And everything he has been going through recently. Not going through. The man is playing on the team with the second best record in the NBA. Averaging 33, fashion, all that. I'm talking about what the media is trying to push him through, what the media is trying to twist him into, and trying to discredit his game just to accredit Nikola Jokic. I'm not here to do any of that, you see, because both of these dudes are absolutely amazing, and both of these dudes deserve flowers, right? This season is so crazy that if they came out and said we couldn't make a decision, both of you guys are MVPs, I would say y'all made the right choice. If Shea came out and won an MVP, I would say y'all made the right choice. If Jokic came out and won an MVP, I would say, woo, y'all made the right choice. You see, there's a little emphasis behind that one. Because when Nikola Jokic is doing it, I can't even explain it. And I know this just sounds so crazy, but like we switch and we switch. If you give Nikola Jokic the supporting cast of an OKC-like team, mm, 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 crazy work. Crazy work. But he's playing on the Nuggets team that has faced a lot of inconsistencies that the second level of cap space has second apron has hurt this team a lot. I mean, they lost two pivotal pieces right at the wing positions in KCP and Bruce Brown that helped them get to that finals push, right? You know, and you got the OKC team who has so much talent that Nikola Topic, lottery pick, who everybody saw as a top 5 pick, you know, in the beginning of all this, is in the G League, right? They have an abundance of talent, you know, abundance of players, abundance of bodies, abundance of defensive, you know, oriented guys. Right? They have a defensive coach over there, and well, in Denver, Nikola Jokic is the coach. You know, he has to rely a lot on the Jamal Murray, who this season has been up and down. He has to rely a lot on the MPJ, who is a shooter, so he's going to go through his streaks. Has to rely a lot on a player who's impressed me a lot this season, in Christian Brown. But still, you know, his backup center depth is not there. The size isn't there. Payne Watson is a dog, but you know, Aaron Gordon hasn't had the same effect that he had 2 years ago. You know, it's difficult. And what even am I saying in this? I don't even know. It's just the fact that I had to come here and kind of just they talk about this MVP. You know, it's ridiculous. I had to. I felt boiling the fact that these two players are playing so good and only one of them gets to win an MVP. That feels unfair to each one of these players, man. Because you can't just say he doesn't deserve it. They both deserve this MVP. You can't say Shea doesn't deserve it. He's a foul, but you can't say Jokic doesn't deserve it. He's a cone on defense. Both of these players are putting up near perfect seasons. It's just the fact that only one gets to win. It's going to be Jokic.